Sex workers say the national lockdown is putting them under financial strain. They claim they've been left without any income since the lockdown began. Sex workers advocacy group Sweat wants government to make provisions for them through the temporary employee relief scheme. In the meantime, the organisation is setting up a GoFundMe page to raise money to help sex workers during the pandemic. For more on this, we're joined by Sweat's Megan Lessing live in Cape Town. Very good to talk to you, Megan. What sort of impact is it having on sex workers?
The impact is devastating, really, on sex workers. I think everybody can agree that the social distancing is omnipresent, so it have to be adhered to across all levels. As the lockdown regulations ease, social distancing remain, and that makes sex work basically impossible to do. So the impact will be long-lasting for this population. It's going to be, so there is no income, really. There's nothing to be made for, there's no income, there's no planning for income. So these campaigns that we are doing is sort of a relief fund, but really it's not enough because I don't know. I think a 2013 estimation showed there's about 158,000 sex workers. And it's not just the sex workers it impacts, it's also their children, it's their dependents. So the impact is, like I said, it's
And what's the call, the response to that call for a relief fund?
So, for example, as an organization, we've been advocating for the decriminalization of sex work for a very long time, for about 25 years. And what we're saying is that this, nobody could have foreseen COVID-19. It's not something that we imagined in any which way, but it did expose, things that we already know, that it's a marginalized population, it's a marginalized, not protected under any law. The law that governs it is outdated. It's an apartheid law. So when stuff like this happens, everybody sees what we've been knowing all the time, that when, it's almost like people living on the fringes of life. When such things happen, we are the most impacted.
Yeah, it's pretty archaic, isn't it? And I'm sure it hasn't stopped during this time of lockdown. I mean, what is your advice to those women and men who continue doing this work? Well,
as an organization, both as Sweat and as Isomke, the national movement of sex workers, we advocate for sex workers to not put themselves in danger, to not do sex work. But it sort of puts us in a very difficult position then, because then it means that if you tell people not to go out and make an income, then you have to provide relief. So we're starting these campaigns. We've reached out to our allies and said, please, if you can donate food parcels, anything that can help, really. But it's much appreciated what people have done already, but it's woefully inadequate. Really.
And how are the police dealing with this? It's always been a big problem, isn't it? Many of the men and women sex workers feel as though they've been abused by the police. Has it got any better or worse under the lockdown?
It has gotten considerably worse. Policing in a criminalized industry, in a criminalized context, has always been a problem. We've done extensive research on policing of sex work in SA, and I think because at some, to some extent and to some level, because sex workers had us, they have other organizations they could reach out to within a lockdown, and even the challenges that we face, our outreach department has basically come to a standstill because we need to put certain things in place, like adequate PPE to reach sex workers on the ground. So those things have come to a standstill. So if there's no, the normal reach out, what we still have in place is our helpline. It's still in place, so sex workers can reach out. But we've had some reports of police doing profiling. Most sex workers are known in the areas where they work from. So even in the things that are allowed in a lockdown, like going out for shopping, because you are known to the police as a sex worker, people get profiled still, they get harassed still.
Okay, Megan, we have to leave it there. Can you quickly remind me how people can contribute if they want?
They can go to our Back About It page. It's the COVID relief for sex workers. And even for sex workers themselves, if they find themselves in trouble, they could reach out to our helpline. It's 24 hours. It's 800 60 60 60.
Right, Megan, thank you very much for talking to us.